must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for finding time to being with us this afternoon. A few minutes, about 7 minutes past 3 p.m. here in Nairobi. I trust that your day has been coming on well. Good morning, good evening, depending on where you are tuned in today. So this is Diaspora Dispatches, for those who don't know. And here I get to bring you the latest news from the continent of Africa. So let's just get on with it. And we start with Ethiopia. The Ethiopian army has denied that civilians were targeted or killed in the airstrike at Chagoga, a village outside Tigray's capital, Mekele. The army spokesperson, Colonel Gov't Adane, told journalists on Thursday that airstrikes targeted were rebel fighters who were gathered to celebrate Martyrs' Day war. Eyewitnesses and hospital sources say dozens might have been killed or injured in the airstrikes. The International Committee of the Red Cross said it helped evacuate those wounded. Colonel Gov't has also claimed by rebel fighters the Tigray People's Liberation Front of military gains, including control of some key areas. He accused the TPLF of engaging in a misinformation campaign, which he said was aimed at getting the government to sit down for negotiations by creating a perception of strength among the international community. There have been growing calls for a cessation of hostilities, with which the government has continued to reject. Renewed fighting is feared to worsen the humanitarian crisis in Tigray, in which millions of people are in need of emergency aid. And still staying with Ethiopia, and the European Union and the United States have condemned an airstrike that we just talked about, that is said to have been carried out by the Ethiopian Air Force, leaving dozens of civilians casualties at a village market near Tigray's capital, Mekele, other dead and others injured. The EU has called the incident extremely worrying, in which civilians were deliberately targeted. The Ethiopian military denies targeting civilians, but has confirmed that the renewed military campaign against the Tigray People's Liberation Front is aided by airstrikes. The U.S. has called for an independent investigation and unhindered medical access to the victims. The conflict in Tigray has been marked by accusations of abuses and atrocities. The airstrike in Chagoga is believed to have left dozens dead or injured. The International Committee of Red Cross has said it helped evacuate those wounded. And then we head over to Namibia, and Namibia recorded its highest ever daily increase in COVID-19 deaths on Wednesday. The country's health ministry announced 45 deaths, which represents one of the worst current death rates in the continent, given Namibia's small population of 2.5 million people. The ministry said 1,567 people had tested positive for COVID-19, among them 3,725 people who had been tested the previous day, representing 42% of a positivity rate. And then we head over to Mozambique, and Islamist insurgents have been involved in renewed clashes near Mozambique's northern town of Palma, military sources have told the AFP news agency. It came as southern African countries approved the deployment of a standby force to help Mozambique fight the Islamists. The northern province of Cabo Delgado has long experienced instability, but the insurgents involving Islamist militants began in 2017. And then we head over to Ivory Coast, where former Ivorian Prime Minister Guillaume Soro has rejected a verdict that sent him to prison for life. He also said the aim of the trial had been to put an end to his political ambitions. According to him, the trial showed how the Ivorian judiciary could easily be manipulated by the executive branch of the government. He vowed to continue with his fight against the capture of the Ivorian state and the control of all institutions. The sentence, passed by the criminal court in the capital Abidjan on Wednesday, sentenced Mr. Soro in absentia. He has been living in exile for the last 2 years. He and others faced charges of conspiracy and undermining national security by plotting a coup. Mr. Soro was barred from running for president in last year's election over previous conviction in absentia for money laundering. And then we go to South Sudan, and at least 14 people were killed and more than 30 others wounded in a cattle raid in South Sudan's Lake State. Local media in South Sudan has reported. The state police spokesperson, Captain Elijah Mabor Makwerk, said armed youths from Pakam community attacked a cattle camp in Gov't, a village on Monday night, and stole an unidentified number of heads of cattle. The Dawn newspaper reports it added that in the last 4 months, an estimated 105 civilians in the state have been killed in similar incidents, which often spark intercommunal violence. According to the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization, South Sudan has over 31 million heads of cattle, sheep and goats, making it one of the world's leaders in animal wealth per capita. And then we head back to Mozambique, and Southern African countries have approved the deployment of troops to Mozambique to help fight Islamist insurgency in its northern province of Cabo Delgado. The regional bloc, SADC, said it will send its standby force. However, it did not provide details of numbers or when they will deploy. Portugal said a European Union military mission to support and train Mozambican troops could be approved next month. 6 Portuguese soldiers have already been approved. 60, not 6, but 60, and nearly 3,000 people have been killed and 800,000 others displaced in the 4-year insurgency. And then we head over to Libya, and the U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken and Libyan Interim Prime Minister Abdulhamid Dabaiba are holding talks today in Berlin on the heels of international conference focused on supporting Libya's transition to permanent, stable government. The conference, hosted by Germany and the United Nations, included officials from 17 countries and reinforcement support for national elections in Libya scheduled for late December. A senior U.S. State Department official later told reporters that the elections are important not just to legitimize a long-term credible Libyan government, but also to help achieve the goal of carrying out an existing call for all foreign fighters to leave the country. And then we go to Senegal, and thousands in Dakar, Senegal's capital, on Wednesday commemorated the 10-year anniversary of the June 23rd, 2011 protest that stopped former President Abdoulaye Wade from running for a third term. But this is almost like some deja vu. The anniversary on Wednesday turned a protest that called for a ban on a possible third term for current President Macky Sall. Mr. Sall, elected in the second round in 2012 against Abdoulaye Wade and re-elected in 2019, has remained silent on his intentions in 2024. And then we end with Nigeria, and the Nigerian army and a popular Islamist cleric, Ahmad Gumi, on Wednesday disagreed over the latter's allegation that security agents in Nigeria were colluding with bandits. Gumi, while featuring on a morning show, a program on Arise Television, on Wednesday alleged that a lot of those he described as bad elements in the nation's security forces were colluding with bandits. The cleric stated that the bandits had been able to access assorted weapons that they used against Nigeria due to the cooperation between the bandits and the security agents. Gumi said that at least 200 residents of Zamfara state had been killed in violent attacks despite an order by President Muhammadu Buhari declaring a no-fly zone over the state's airspace. And on his part, the Kaduna-based cleric alleged that security agents are doing business with the security and the lives of Nigerians. And that is the latest from Africa this afternoon. I see being joined by Dr. David Matanga. Doctor, very good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Miriam. Thank you very much. I don't know whether you are hearing me.
Yes, I can hear you.
That's a moment, Miriam. That's a moment I get.
All right. So as we wait there, the story that I've just concluded with, the story of Nigeria and this cleric now making this damning, allegations against the government, the security forces of Nigeria, something that I think we've also talked about here, because you wonder, a lot of these raids that happen in these parts of Nigeria, where, we've wondered where the security forces usually are. Like yesterday and the other day, a news item that I carried out here where they're saying, these people went in a village 3 times. Okay, doctor is here again. Go ahead.
Miriam, I don't want to take much time. I just want to thank you very much for having, done very well since morning. And two, I just wanted to add one word on SADC deployment in Mozambique. I have listened to all the stories. Thank you very much for getting all the African stories updated. One of the stories that might be shocking you is the repayment of the white farmers. I don't know whether you picked it up. The repayment of Zimbabwe is repaying back the white farmers, those who lost their land. But we took a decision to do that, but we should also have a reciprocatory move by them reciprocating by removing sanctions on Zimbabwe, because that was the reason why they put sanctions. That is one of the reasons. The second point that I wanted to bring is the arrest of the former Mauritanian president. I don't know whether
I did that
you
yesterday.
saw that one.
I did that yesterday.
Yes. If Africa is going to fight corruption that way, even if it takes a long time, we shall fight Ruto here with his corruption. The way he has been stealing money and hiding and then turning around to insult the president in Kenya. I think that's a very good reason for me to be joyful. Another thing that you might have said it about Uganda was the appointment of a Major General, Lieutenant General Bandi, my friend, as the new Chief of Defense Forces. I want to congratulate him and I wish him well, and I hope he'll look after this country in the period that it might need transition or in the period that it needs security at the moment. Otherwise, I want to wish all of you from the outside broadcasting unit or Center for Africa, somewhere in Africa, I want to wish you good luck. Let's enjoy the World Safari Rally, which is actually in Kenya after 19 years. Those who want to go to Naivasha can go, but I want to leave this word of caution. Drive safely. Why I have joined this race is to make sure that the roads are safe. Miriam, one of the things that kill people in Africa are the roads. We don't have road courtesy. We don't have behavior. We are annoyed people. We are paranoid. We drive as if the machine, that these machines don't kill. These machines kill, machines kill. We don't observe road regulations at all. We overtake, we overlap. So the road safety, which I believe this rally should actually start as you train more soldiers, more drivers. Let's also train more better road users. I want to wish two people to pay thanks to about three people. First, President Uhuru Kenyatta. Second, Dr. Ambassador Mohammed Amina, my friend, Dada, my sister. Thank you very much for bringing this thing rally back here. Your ministry is shining. The other person I want to pay courtesy to and give thanks is a lady by name Rose Wachuka. Rose Wachuka, Miriam, if you can see the waves of social media. For the first time, people know more about this ministry because she has gone out on the social media to explain every action. Whether one Kenyan is running alone in Paris, this lady is always around to alert us, to alert people of East Africa, that there is one Kenyan who is going to be in a race. Rose Wachuka, keep it up. Amina, keep it up. Thank you very much, Mr. President. History has been made, a legacy will be made that you once brought back the rally that stopped 19 years ago. Thank you. The rest of you, the crew, back in the general headquarters of Punchline Africa TV, thank you very much for waking up very early in the morning to cover this. And thank you very much for this attire. I hope I've represented you very well, Miriam. I haven't misbehaved at all. Thank you very much. God bless you. This station, therefore, is for Africa, by Africa, with Africa. Back to you in the studio, Miriam.
Right. Thank you so much. Yes, indeed. Today we had a national rally. It's still ongoing. I think it's an event that will take the next 4 days, I believe. And so Doctor was present during the flagging of the rally cars there that was led by President Uhuru Kenyatta. So now let's just get back to some of the stories that I just went through there. I'll just go through them very quickly and then we'll just call it a day. The story in, I think, Nigeria, the one we were talking about, this cleric saying that there's a possibility security forces in Nigeria are colluding with the bandits and other criminals in that country. I think this is something that we've alluded to before, but now for him to come out and speak as though he has evidence, I think this is very downing to the government and the security apparatus there in Nigeria. But in a quick rejoinder, the army in Nigeria gave out a statement, and I'll just read part of it to counter what this cleric had said. The army denied the allegation by Mr. Gumi, that is the cleric. The director of Army Public Relations, Onyema Nwachukwu, in a statement on Wednesday, described the claim by the cleric as a calculated attempt to undermine the sacrifices of the troops aimed at restoring peace in the country. The statement was titled Nigerian Army Not Colluding with Bandits. It read, the Nigerian Army has just been alerted to a submission by Sheikh Ahmad Abubakar Gumi when he featured on Arise television morning show on Wednesday, June 23rd, 2021. Alleging that the Nigerian military is colluding with marauding bandits who have been responsible for various crimes and atrocities against Nigerians and the Nigerian state. The Nigerian Army wishes to state that contrary to Sheikh Gumi's claims, the Nigerian Army remains a bona fide symbol of a national unity that has conducted its constitutional responsibilities in the professional manner in line with global best practices of adherence to the rules of engagement and protection of the fundamental human rights of the citizenry there in Uganda. So obviously that is just a part of the statement that was given by the Nigerian Army to counter what Sheikh Gumi had said. Sheikh Gumi had claimed, as I said there earlier, that security forces in Nigeria, the reason why it's difficult.
Miriam, who is saying what? There is no Nigeria.
Okay, we seem to have had a bit of a technical hitch there from Doctor's part.
Which army? Mm-hmm. I think that Abu Dhabi is wrong. I don't think there is an army there.
Mm-hmm. All right. We seem to be having a bit of a technical hitch from Doctor's part. Yeah, Doctor, we are losing you a bit there. Mm-hmm. Your connection is not very good.
My dear sister, we have cried and cried over Nigeria. Okay, now you got me. Mm-hmm. We have cried and cried, Miriam, over Nigeria. I think there's no Nigeria anymore. Nigeria is gone. Buhari cannot hold on. Buhari has allowed a mafia state. If the army is colluding with some people, with bandits, to rob civilians, then what is the state? There's no state. There's no state. Let's be honest. And let's tell the world, Nigerians need help. If you look at the number of Nigerians who are applying for asylum in several African countries, Uganda, Kenya, go to the Kenyan streets, go to some of the shops. Smaller shops are being bought on cash basis, and the Kenyans are being removed. Nigerians are taking over because they are very serious, shrewd businessmen. Look at all the telephone shops now, most of them free quarters in most of these African countries like Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania, Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe has a huge number of Nigerians fleeing persecution from home because of Buhari. I think African Union His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, please, you are the chairman of Peace and Security Council. Your Excellency, we have asked on a number of occasions, just intervene, call this meeting, intervene in the situation in Nigeria. Things are not very good, Miriam. They are not. Let's talk the truth and leave it to God to make judgment. If we meet with Buhari in the corridors or in one of the lobbies waiting to see God, let him run away from me. But for me, with Buhari, I don't have any respect with him. For him, and I will never have respect for a man who has killed and murdered so many Biafrans, destroyed their property. Today, he hangs around as the president of 220 million crumbling population with poverty, ignorance, and disease. People sleeping on water. Miriam, have you seen the houses there? People sleep on water. The Atlantic Ocean has come. People have built houses on top of water. What type of country is that? What? That is not a country. I'm sorry. Thank you. God bless you. I am just quiet for today. Let me stop there. Me and Buhari, no.
All right.
In fact, I quickly urge Nigerian army to take up the responsibility to protect Nigerians by taking over Buhari. I'm sorry. I will help them if they need help. Yeah.
All right. Very well. So also,
you remember you and I, we were there when when we removed this General Yahya. You remember? Yahya was boasting around Africa that he's the general. We removed him. We shall remove a sustained campaign against Buhari, sustained with international media, which I cracked on General Yahya. He went. This Buhari needs a sustained campaign of 3 months. If I was in London, I would sustain Sky News for 3 months. Buhari will collapse. The army will move in and take him down. I'm telling you. But it is okay. It's okay. The people are dying, man. We can't talk about Africa, happy Africa. What Africa? This Africa is not happy. In Tigray, look at what happened there. They are bombing people. Then they said they are investigating. You have already killed them. So, thank you very much.
all right. Thank you so much. And part of that army statement from the army that also I found to be very interesting. They're saying that while the Nigerian army will not attempt to excuse the possibility of black sheep amongst its fold, it must be stated unambiguously that it will not condone any form of sabotage or aiding and assisting the enemy by any personnel. So they are perhaps suggesting to us that there could be some characters in the Nigerian army who actually are colluding with this criminal, people in Nigeria, as that Cleric is suggesting there. They're saying there's a possibility there's some black sheep in the Nigerian army who could actually be colluding.
You can't rule out Nigeria. You can't rule out with the Buhari government. You can't rule out. But I don't think there's anything left there. Let's just wait for the burial day.
All right. Well, very well. Another story in Mozambique, where now SADC has agreed. SADC countries have approved the deployment of troops to Mozambique to help fight an Islamist insurgency in its northern province of Cabo Delgado. Initially, they'd wanted to do this, but President Filipe Nyusi was not very receptive of this help by SADC because, according to the agreement they have within SADC, they are allowed actually to come in under humanitarian crisis to help a member state, but Filipe Nyusi was not very keen on having the bloc come in and offer some military help that is gravely needed there in Mozambique. So now SADC has agreed that it will approve the deployment of troops to Mozambique, but they did not agree they did not give details of the numbers of troops that will be deployed or when this will happen. So I don't know, they approved and then they'll take their time and a crisis continues and a humanitarian catastrophe continues to happen in northern Delgado. 4 years after this war started, Doctor?
Miriam, the problem of Cape Delgado is very simple. The French, Total Oil, and I'm always honest. I don't care. Do I need a French passport? I don't need it. It's not worth it. I don't need it. The French are a problem. The French have destroyed West Africa, Central Africa, North Africa, Mogadishu. The French Total Oil is responsible for the rebels of Al-Shabaab that have grown in northern Mozambique and the southern Tanzania. That is a point I will never give up. 6 years ago, I saw 400 French operatives pretending to be digging a railway and a road. I met them. I found them in a Hyatt hotel. 400. I had gone for a holiday in Tanzania, Dar es Salaam, Hyatt hotel. I found them. Miriam, how do you explain the situation of, how do you explain, Miriam, a situation of 400 well-shaven men in a hotel? What were they doing? They are Marines. I alerted His Excellency, the late President of Tanzania, with the Minister of Foreign Affairs. I told them these are not normal Shell BP workers, or no, Total workers. Now, where are we? Where are we today? Are those not the rebels who turned up to pick arms? And I want to thank SADC. They had now passed, you see how, Miriam, how they operate to this member country. They went to Zimbabwe and asked Zimbabwe, can you supply us troops? Thanks God, some of us called the president there and informed the nation that don't try, you will be sucked into a war. Let SADC go in as a bloc. And that is what they have done. Another point that you should note about Mozambique is the question of the president himself is a commercial president, not a political president. He's commercial. Anafanya biashara. He did business. He sold. He's like a Kabila, the late Kabila in Congo, Miriam. The late Kabila sold contracts, mining contracts to both people, Chinese. Then when the Chinese gave him higher money, the Americans gave him higher money, he removed it from Chinese. You know where he ended. Nyusi has also messed up his own country. I submit.
Okay, all right. And hopefully SADC will deploy those troops as soon as possible because they're needed there. And another story that caught my attention this afternoon is the meeting that happened yesterday in Berlin, Germany, on Libya, and the U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken and Libyan Interim Prime Minister Abdul Hamid Dabaiba are holding talks today in Berlin on the heels of an international conference that started yesterday that is focused on supporting Libya's transition to a permanent, stable government. The conference, hosted by Germany and the United Nations, including officials from 17 countries, and reinforced support for national elections in Libya scheduled for late December this year. So Germany seems to be this current talks and mediation process by Germany seems to be moving towards a trajectory that is quite positive. Are we likely to see any changes in the dynamics when it comes to Libya?
Miriam, what is Germany? Germany served Libya anyway. During the resolution against Libya, Germany stood, withdrew, abstained. Germany did not want Libya bombed. I want to thank them for that. Resolution 1990 of the United Nations Security Council dismembered Libya. I will not, as an African, stand watch a country called France talk about what? What are they trying to talk about? France should not even be there. In fact, the people in Libya, we should arrest this General Khalifa. He should have a warrant, international warrant, to go and stand the trial for the damage he has done against the people of Libya. There is nothing to talk about. Libya is a broken state. Turkey has come in, taken its part in Tripoli, and Cairo, Egypt, Assisi, and the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, they have joined their hands. They have taken over the other part. They are drilling the oil. France is buying this oil cheaply because they need it. You know, France is a country that survives on George Soros' money. Don't forget that Miriam. George Soros owns 4 banks in Paris. And if he says, we want to give you the money, you won't get it. So France is literally bankrupt. It's a state that is going around bringing us war, bloodshed. I submit.
All right. And I think the last story, before we call it a day, Ethiopian army yesterday had an airstrike, on Monday during elections, that has killed several people. It has not been, the number has not been given because we know obviously the government is not even allowing people to access that area, and several others were injured. And the government is saying they were targeting the TPLF, military, but they went and bombed a market. What are militants doing in a market? Well, Tigrayans were going on about their day in a market, and they killed a lot of civilians. And now we've seen a European Union and the United States coming out and condemning that airstrike, said to have been carried out by the Ethiopian Air Force, which Ethiopian Air Force has taken responsibility. They're the ones who did that, but they're saying they did not, target civilians. But if you go bombing a market on the middle of the day, who do you expect to kill?
Miriam, I have said and I said again, the worst mistake that the Prime Minister of Ethiopia made was to shake hands with the President of Eritrea. In fact, Isaias. You know, these are my friends. Ifaki, Matanga, Zenawi, Dr. Tedros of World Health Organization. All of us worked together in Britain, funded by the British government, to overthrow our governments that time. Because Uganda had no party. Uganda was a one-party communist state. And as you know, the West did not like the communist state style of President Museveni. So all of us found working in the same office. Myself, Zenawi, Isaias, and Dr. Tedros. I have told you on this program that where Dr. Tedros goes, there is always chaos. And you saw COVID-19 came because of he kept quiet. I don't want to tell the story, a long story of how he made us almost be arrested and jailed in London for having fabricated accounts. So I understand Zenawi. Zenawi is gone down. I am a living soul. Who knows who Isaias is, the president of Eritrea? He knows if he finds me anywhere in AU, he has to stop and talk to me privately, because I know what he is. I said, and I told you, Dr. Abe made a very terrible mistake. He came from NGO politics. He was an NGO man. He didn't know politics. He jumped into politics and started shaking hands, and they gave him that Nobel Prize, of which they give to people who always collapse very fast. Look at what has happened now. A few years ago, I told you that that place is going to be very murky. is murky, bloody. They are killing. Tigrayans are dying. The people of Tigray are dying. And for me, I stand on the side. Do you know the side I stand on? Of the people of Tigray. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Doctor.
We better, you see, Miriam, it's better to make our stand in Africa. If you don't want me, if you don't like me, so what? What is in Ethiopia? What is that? What is there? I stand on the side of the Tigray. They are being killed. Just as in Nigeria, I stand on the side of Biafrans. They are being killed. Just as in Cameroon, I stand on the side of Amazonians. They are being killed. Just as in South Sudan, I stand on the side of peace, because there is a faction that is funded by somebody, some people in East Africa, to disrupt that peace. And very soon we better do it. And I name you the people, the generals who are being paid to disrupt the peace in South Sudan. I submit.
All right. Thank you so much. And that is where we end our show this afternoon. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Diaspora Dispatches. Thank you, Dr. David Matanga. My name is Miriam Ogutu. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you.
Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.